Hey everyone, Jason Shapper here. Welcome into Mock Check Ride May, and in this video, well, being prepared for your check ride is all about knowing what's changed from the FAA. I'm going to share with you 8 things the FAA has changed over the past year. What is happening? MzeroA Online Ground School, Jason Shapper here. Welcome into a video where I'm going to share with you 8 things the FAA has fairly recently, some of them changed, so you can walk into your check ride better prepared. Speaking of walking into your check ride better prepared, and not just your check ride, by the way, part of being a safe, good pilot who's always learning is staying up to date on FAA changes. So this video is for you as well. But if a check ride is in your future, I'd encourage you to head over to MzeroA.com. It's the year 23 Mike Zulu. Each month we're giving something away. 2 months ago it was an iPad. Last month it was that amazing survival kit that you saw. And this month is something cool. You are going to get a 1-hour via Zoom mock check ride with myself. You and I are going to sit down. I'm going to quiz you. It'll be a chance to talk. Some mentorship may happen as well in there. But I'm going to quiz you for the check ride of your choice, whatever you're working towards. And we're going to go back and forth. And I'll do some teaching along the way. That winner will also get 4 of our books. Pass your private pilot check ride, pass your instrument pilot check ride, pass your commercial pilot check ride, and my newest book, Aviation Mastery as well. 4 books and a 1-hour Zoom call with myself where I'm going to quiz you on all the ground portion for a mock check ride. MzeroAcontest.com if that is for you. You know, part of check ride preparation, it's being aware of all the FAA updates and all the FAA changes. Truly, the only constant in aviation is change. So let's start with number 1 here. It's a classic. It's the Aviation Weather Handbook. It's a large, comprehensive source, and it's published in current as of December 21st of 2022. However, what it's done is it's consolidated info from so many different advisory circulars on weather. So it canceled a number of advisory circulars. CFIs really pay attention. If your lesson plans quote any of the following advisory circulars: Aviation Weather Services, Aviation Weather, that's AC00-6, hazardous mountain winds, thunderstorms, clear air turbulence avoidance, pilot's guide to wind shear. Please don't quote those advisory circulars because they are effectively canceled. By the way, in the new book, there's a really fun and clever appendix in the back of it that shows cloud types and other reference information. We'll link to the new reference in the description below as well. Here's another one. Did you know the FAA adopted a final rule requiring commercial hot air balloon pilots, add that to my want-to-do list, commercial balloon pilots to hold a medical certificate when flying paying passengers? This was issued, again, November of last year, November of 2022. A second-class medical is required now, just like any other commercial pilots. Balloon pilots were previously exempt from the medical requirement. And this, again, is a step to increase the safety of hot air balloon tourism. Reference, again, down below. Here's a big one, some knowledge test changes, and this just happened last month. As of April 24th of 2023, your private pilot knowledge test, the time is reduced from 150 minutes to complete the test to now just 120 minutes. Your commercial written test time is now reduced from 180 minutes to 150 minutes. Now here's another thing. There are now 5 unscored validation questions that are going to be added. So this is increase in the private pilot knowledge test from 60 to 65 questions. The same with commercial, 5 new unscored validation questions, taking it from 100 questions to 105. Now, here's the kicker. These unscored questions, they're not going to count towards the test taker's score. In fact, they're randomized. You may not even know this one you're working so hard on is one of those new unscored questions. The FAA is trying to update the question database yet again, and they're trickling in these test questions. They're of no consequence. They just want to see, wow, everybody bombed it on this one. We maybe wrote that question not that well. Let's fix it. So they're using this to test, and I guess we are their guinea pigs in a way. So if you're ever, and maybe you're an online ground school member of ours, and we've had some of our ground school members reach out to us already saying, Jason, I went through the entire private pilot ground school. I went through the entire private pilot boot camp, and you said I'd see every question in your ground school. I got to the test and there was a new question I didn't see. Well, that was probably one of the new questions they're working to try to validate, and it had no consequence to it. So keep that in mind. If you get to the test and you see a question you have never even seen before, it's probably one of those new questions. Don't take it lightly, just in case. Still do your best on it. Now that's for private and commercial. There are no changes to instrument at this time. Here's another one. For those that live in areas like Alaska, the FAA has a very cool program they use called the FAA Weather Camera Program. And they've enhanced this through the new visibility estimation through image analytics, or VIA algorithm. It's actually been approved by the FAA and is very soon going to be available for use. And this works with actually learning landmarks with a known distance and comparing it to the current images to ideal images. And through that, it estimates the visibility the same way you and I do with the human eye, validating VIA results against the Automated Surface Observation System. Your ASOS readings found VIA to actually be 90% more accurate in detecting low visibility. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar, the FAA's Weather Camera Program, it started actually about 2 decades ago in Alaska as to give pilots kind of an eyes-on review for looking at weather in some remote areas that may not produce a METAR, ASOS, AWOS, anything like that, thus giving enhanced situational awareness. So it just helps fill gaps in coverage for these pilots, and reference to that down below as well. In addition to this, also in Alaska, the FAA is publishing 54 GPS-guided routes in Alaska. This is allowing pilots to navigate direct now with some direct flight paths at lower altitudes to help them avoid icing conditions. It's technically 30 new routes and 24 amended terminal transition routes. My instrument pilots know that as T routes, and that's a part of the FAA's Alaska Aviation Safety Initiative. A source is down below for that if you want to learn more about it. Here's a big one. Where are my remote pilots at? Remote pilots, you've heard about this. Let me do my best to break this down into plain English. Now, under federal law, recreational drone flyers must follow the safety guidelines of an FAA-recognized community-based organization. CBO is the buzzword for that. Now, regardless, if recreational, you must follow the regulations. The FAA issued guidance in Advisory Circular 9157 Charlie. And they did this back in October on how to become an FAA-recognized community-based organization for recreational drone flying. Now, the organization is required to develop its safety guidelines in coordination with the FAA, and an applicant may wish to tailor them to their particular type of unmanned flying. Again, that's Advisory Circular 9157C, or Charlie. And that explains how the recreational flyer of the unmanned aircraft may comply with the statutory requirements of Title 489. It also explains how to become a CBO and how to become a fixed site. That's another buzzword for you. By the way, a fixed site is just a location with a standing airspace authorization for recreational flying, while a FRIA is a location where an unmanned aircraft may operate without remote identification. In some places where an airspace authorization is required for recreational flying, such as controlled airspace, and where a CBO has obtained approval for a FRIA and a fixed site may actually overlap. So don't confuse your definitions here. If a CBO has obtained authorization for a fixed site, but has not obtained approval for a FRIA, guess what? Remote ID, it still applies. So just keep that in mind as well. Here's another one. I think we're on number 7 now, maybe. Addendum to the PHAK, Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge. They updated a paragraph in the flight instrument section. It reads as follows. The pitch and bank limits of an attitude indicator depend upon the make and model of the instrument. Some attitude indicators have limits in the banking plane from 100 to 110 degrees, and the pitch limits can be from 60 to 70. Here's the part they added. For those attitude indicators that display only pitch information of plus or minus 25 degrees vertically, the instrument could peg, meaning stop, and remain at this pitch indication until it no longer exceeds limitations, or it literally tumbles is what they're saying here, and provides erroneous pitch and bank indications when the aircraft exceeds these limits. Now, this may be extremely hazardous when the aircraft is operating in instrument conditions or a confused pilot during unusual attitude recovery. A number of modern attitude indicators do not have this problem, by the way. And I'm proud of the FAA because this was actually an NTSB recommendation. Remember, through a lot of our accidents, the FAA makes safety recommendations. It was related to a helicopter crash doing search and rescue in Alaska. And it's safety recommendation A-14-109, referenced down below. But super proud of the FAA for taking that safety recommendation and say, hey, we're adding it to the Pilot's Handbook of Aeronautical Knowledge. Last little thing here for you, and I'm always proud to brag on our ground school members. So every year the FAA publishes their average scores on their written tests. So there were almost 40,000 private pilot written tests taken in 2022 with an average score of just 82%. Did you know MzeroA online ground school members score 7 points higher above the FAA national average? And you'll continue. If you're in the MzeroA Nation Facebook group, you see 90s and 95s and several 100s each and every week. So average score, by the way, for instrument pilot, 86%, commercial pilot, 88%, and this is the shocking one to me, remote pilot, just 80%. And again, MzeroA exceeds all these averages, especially on remote pilot as well above the national average. If you want to learn more about that amazing online ground school and how to be above average in everything, not just your written tests, not just your check ride, but above average in everything, take a 2-week trial of our online ground school. Head over to MzeroAtrial.com. Did anybody learn anything here today? I hope you did. I hope you'll take some of this knowledge, CFIs, into your lesson plans, to your learners. I hope those of you prepping for a check ride are gonna say, listen, check, got that. Now I know for my check ride as well. Can't wait to read your comments down below. What did you learn? Let me know in the comments below. Have a blessed, abundant, outstanding rest of your day. And most importantly, remember that a good pilot is always learning. Have a great day, everybody. I'll see you.